Very few people would be aware of the fact that the name of the continent, both North and South America, is named after the explorer Amerigo Vespucci, or that the name of the continent of Australia means southern and dates back to the 2nd century legend of an unknown southern land, which in Latin converts to Terra Australis Incognita. The explorer Matthew Flinders named the land Terra Australis, which was later abbreviated to the current form Australia. For those familiar with the Chumash text, the name of the country Israel is a biblical given name, one that was given to him after he had wrestled with the man/angel prior to his meeting with Esav. Lo Yaakov Yeyamer od Shimcha, your name will no longer be Yaakov ki im Yisrael, but instead you will be referred to as Yisrael. And the narrator places into the mouth of the Malach a reason for the name change, ki sarita im Elohim ve'im anashim. Sarita with a shin resh hey shoresh, to strive, to fight with. It also has a connotation of becoming a ruler or becoming a prince, a sar. In this context, sarita is to strive or to fight with. You fought with an angel of God and with men, vatuchal, and you prevail. Yaakov's descendants came to be known as the Bnei Yisrael, and ultimately Eretz Canaan was renamed as the Kingdom of Yisrael, which in modern times became the State of Israel. The point is that most countries, most cities are identified by name. Majority of the population, however, would have difficulty in tracing the source for the name of the city or the country in which they live. Which brings us to the issue of the Machpelah. Eretz Canaan was the country, Hebron was the region, and within the Hebron region you had Kiryat Arba, where Sarah died, and then we have an area in the Hebron region known as the Machpelah, and within the Machpelah city limits there was a Ma'ara, a cave, at the end of a large field that was owned by Ephron, which Abraham wished to purchase. We noted earlier the position of the Ramban regarding the Ma'arat HaMachpelah, where he first quotes the two options provided by Rashi, namely the Machpelah was a two-story building, or the second option that it was Kefula Bezugot, the burial place for 4 couples, and then writes Ve'enenu Nachon, that Rashi's explanation is not correct because Bereshit 23:17 states clearly that the Sedeh Ephron Asher B'Machpelah, the field of Ephron located in the Machpelah, was transferred over to Avraham. Why it was called Machpelah? The Ramban writes, Ve'ein tzarech levakesh tam l'shem. One does not need to necessarily provide a reason as to why the region was called Machpelah. In other words, as far as Ephron was concerned, he owned land in Machpelah. Why Machpelah was given this name was immaterial. And hence, argues the Ramban, there was no need for Rashi to provide not one but 2 explanations as to why the intended burial spot was named Ma'arat HaMachpelah. But then the Ramban goes on to provide us with a possible explanation that is drawn from the Bereshit Rabbah, that the region gained the name Machpelah on account of a paranormal event that took place, Shekafal HaKadosh Baruch Hu Komato Shel Adam HaRishon, that on account of the low ceiling height, HaKadosh Baruch Hu caused the body of Adam HaRishon to bend at the waist in order to fit into the Ma'ara, and only then v'kavru b'tocha. God was able to bury Adam HaRishon in the Ma'ara. And based upon this legend, Hayakol Makom Hahu Nikra Kein Me'olam, the entire region from the days of Adam HaRishon was identified as Machpelah, implying a bending over of the body of Adam HaRishon. However, V'hem lo yadu tamo, 1,000 years later, the Bnei Chet were not aware of the reason as to why the region was known as Machpelah, evidenced by the fact that Ephron b'demei hasadeh machar lo hakol, for the mere land value of the field, the 400 shekel kesef, Ephron threw in the Ma'ara that was located at the end of that field, al da'ato she'ein sham kever, on the assumption that it was a cave of no value to him or to anybody. This conclusion from the Ramban is based upon a careful analysis of the text, comparing what Abraham wanted and what Ephron offered. It is precisely this point that the Rambam raises, namely the linking of the descriptive Machpelah to the Ma'ara, the cave, when in actuality the entire region was identified as the Machpelah. The Rashi defines the Machpelah descriptive as referring to a double-storied bayit, which was located above the catacombs of a cave. Not the bayit of today, but possibly something akin to the adobe structure that was common in the days of Avraham. So that now, according to Rashi, the translation of the phrase is that Avraham wished to purchase the Ma'ara, the cave, which was located B'Ketsei Sadehu, at the far corner of Ephron's field, upon which a two-storied house had been built. In the next panel we shall look at the shortcoming of this option of a double-storied house, which will be addressed with option number 2.